Good evening, everyone. My name is Rocio. I will be conducting this presentation today, and we will be starting in a couple more minutes. All right. So I just want to make sure uh, um, can you guys see my screen? If somebody can send a message via chat. Great. Thank you so much, Diana. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rocio Alvarez. I am an environmental health specialist too, training officer here at Consumer Health and Food Safety. And I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Um, Tonight I will be talking about active managerial control. So I guess we can get started. All right. So all right. So the goal of this meeting is to provide you with important tools and guidelines to help you protect the health of your customers and of your business. Um, the objectives that I have for you all tonight is to evaluate how food safety culture fits into your business model, identify a food safety management system, identify the business benefits of active managerial control. And it's important for me to mention, I will be able to address any of your questions at the end of the presentation. Thank you very much. And let me just make sure that my sound is good. Tatiana, or it's my. Can you guys hear me? Want to make sure.
Ye-
Yeah, we
Yes.
can
Okay,
hear you.
great.
You
Thank you
sound
so
great.
much, Ralph. All right, so let's see. So foodborne illness statistics. So the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control, estimates that 48 million people get sick each year, and 3,000 people die from foodborne illness or food poisoning each year in the United States. These statistics are, of course, very devastating, especially when foodborne illness are preventable. It is the responsibility of everyone working in a food establishment to ensure that consumers receive safe food to prevent anyone from getting sick or even dying. Providing safe food at all times is the best insurance policy for every food establishment. Thus protects the health of your customers and protects your business from financial loss, criminal negligence, lawsuits, bankruptcy that may arise from a foodborne illness outbreak. When leaders, managers, and employees are 100% committed to food safety, a food safety culture is built. Having a food safety culture reduces foodborne illness. Employees' turnover is reduced and increases your sales, among other benefits that I will discuss later. So let's talk about food culture. Food culture is defined as shared values, beliefs, goals, and practices that affect mindset and behavior towards food safety within a food establishment. Food safety culture can be viewed as how and what the employees in a food establishment think about food safety. In other words, food culture is when both management and employees know the risk linked with the meals or products they produce. They understand why it's important to control those risks, and they know how to successfully manage those risks as preventative measures. For example, some food handlers may believe that it's okay to touch ready to eat food with bare hands, especially when they compare their food practices at home. This is an example of how our beliefs, behaviors, and attitudes are influenced by multiple factors, including national culture and upbringing. And let's see, it looks like we have maybe somebody cannot hear me. All right, I don't think that is my audio. Thank you, Cecia. All right, so um, historically, the two primary methods used to reduce the risk foodborne illness in food establishment have been regulatory inspections and training. But now it has been discovered that by having strong food safety culture, you can reduce risk that can make someone very sick. It is necessary to have a better understanding of how the food safety culture within your specific food establishment is. The key is for leaders to influence their food workers to achieve a safe food handling. Food business owners and managers can create a strong food safety culture foundation by establishing policies and procedures that place a higher emphasis on food safety, creating a ripple effect that flows from the top to the bottom. So, where do we start, right? First, let's start by doing an assessment to see if you have a food safety culture or what areas you need to focus on to achieve a strong food safety culture. You can actually tell if a food establishment has a safety culture by their communication or lack of communication on a food safety topic. So, how do we build a food safety culture? Number one, it starts with leadership and commitment. Food safety culture starts with good leadership. It is the responsibility of leadership to create and implement food safety policies, communicate food safety policy with everyone involved in the operation of the business, demonstrate commitment to food safety, set expectations, and inspire others to follow. Many food establishment leaders proclaim that food safety comes first, but they often take steps that run contrary to food safety. For example, decreasing time allowed for cleaning and sanitizing, especially when they are extremely busy, or refusing to slow down or stop production when there is an imminent health hazard. Demonstrating commitment by managers is very important. Food safety culture starts from the top and flows downward. Leaders should inspire others to follow their lead. Number two, communication and collaboration. Now that you have, or after you have written procedures, it is very important to communicate and explain those written policies and procedures to all of the staff members. Share your business mission and goals with everyone. Establish roles and responsibilities for food safety. Encourage open and sincere communication, including feedback. Ask your employees for ideas and suggestions. It is important to consider different mediums of communication as this will increase the chances that your food safety message will get through. For example, you can use posters, signs, newsletters, or videos to educate your employees about food safety. Having food safety conversations can help break down barriers and improve understanding. Number three, training and education. Providing training is not the same as providing education. Providing food safety education is explaining why food safety is important. Providing training is explaining how a process should be completed. It is critical to use both education and training. Employees may be more conscious of their actions if they know why a procedure should be conducted in a certain way. In other words, by educating and emphasizing on the why, there are higher probabilities of changing unwanted behaviors. For example, if you have an employee that constantly struggles with hand washing, you might want to spend some time providing education and convey the real risk or consequences associated with not washing hands. Nowadays, you can find real documented stories on YouTube, for example, to help you portray your message. Remember that personal testimonies can be very powerful. When it comes to training, it involves teaching employees the details of tasks or duties and how they must do those tasks to keep food safe. Develop training programs and remember to keep things simple and short. Complex guidelines or tasks are less likely to be understood or followed. Number four, accountability and responsibility. Make sure that your employees understand the food safety performance expectations of their job and that they are held accountable for them. If consequences help increase or decrease behaviors, then certainly they can be used to enhance food safety performance. Reward good practices, celebrate success and milestones to promote knowledge sharing and best practices. In creating a food safety culture, food establishments must invest time and the necessary resources to address potential problems that can lead to costly foodborne illness outbreaks or lawsuits. So, depending on the severity of a foodborne illness outbreak, it can cost a food establishment millions of dollars and can even result in a permanent closure. I know that so far what I have shared with you may sound very overwhelming, but once you successfully create a strong food safety culture, you will see the great benefits. So now let's talk about the benefits. Some of the benefits of having a strong food safety culture includes increased sales and more loyal customers. Protects your customers from food safety hazards. Great reputation and trust. Everyone in the food establishment can enjoy peace of mind knowing that your food establishment is always inspection ready. Protects your food establishment from costly fines and closures. And of course, you can save a lot of money by reducing food waste. A food safety culture assessment is a great tool to use once you're ready to create or enhance a strong food safety culture in your business. This tool, which was created by the CDC, will help you assess food safety culture within your food establishment. So if you're eager to get started, I highly suggest to take a picture of this QR code from this slide. It will take you directly to the food safety culture assessment tool. I'm just going to give it a few more seconds before I change my slide, just to give everyone a chance to take a picture if needed. All right. Food safety culture is vital to the well-being of the food establishment reputation, employees, and customers. Cultivating a positive food safety culture is one of the most important things that leadership in a food establishment can do. Employees should regularly be reminded of the importance of food safety, whether they are recent hires or long-term staff members, part-time or full-time. In today's competitive market, you need to do a lot of things right to outshine your competitors and grow your business. For example, great food at reasonable prices, a good atmosphere, and a decent location. Well, these are great things. However, if you do not have a strong food safety culture, you may encounter problems and lasting severe consequences. It's just like building a house. A food safety culture built on a strong foundation will be much stronger. So I encourage all of you today to evaluate your role as a food safety leader, identify challenges in your facility, generate solutions to the challenges, and establish specific actions and procedures to promote food safety. And if you need help at any time during this process, don't forget that here at Consumer Health and Food Safety, our goal is to help you build a strong foundation. I'm gonna take a sip of water here. One moment. Okay, thank you. So once you acknowledge that you need to make changes to create a food safety culture, it is important to build an action-based food safety management system. A food safety management system is a group of procedures and practices implemented by your business to help you manage food safety and control risk factors. Food safety procedures are essential to ensure sufficient controls of the risk associated with the food process. Therefore, reducing foodborne hazards and foodborne illness is a central goal of any food safety management system. Why is this important? Failure to ensure safe practices can lead to a foodborne illness. And as a result, you may be impacted with legal actions and loss of sales. For this reason, adopting a food safety management system is essential for your food establishment as it will help you maintain control of any potential risk. Implementing a food safety management system puts place steady procedures to prevent making someone very sick. These may include, but are certainly not limited to, personal hygiene program, cleaning and sanitation program, facility design and equipment maintenance program, food safety program, standard operational procedures, commonly referred as SOPs, pest control program. So by incorporating a food safety management system, you will gain many benefits, such as, again, increased sales, higher employee retention, reduction in product loss, foodborne illness prevention, improved food quality, customer trust and satisfaction, strong reputation. So one food safety management system that it's very popular within the food industry, it's called Active Managerial Control. Active managerial control is a proactive approach to control foodborne illness risk factors and helps minimize the occurrence of food safety violations. By implementing active managerial control, a food establishment will find and correct food safety violations rather than waiting for the health department to identify the violation at the time of the inspection. An active managerial control is an investment in your business and the safety of your customers. This program provides the necessary steps to a strong food safety foundation so that your employees can successfully maintain your customers safe. Active managerial control focuses on controlling the five most important risk factors that cause foodborne illness in a food service establishment. According to studies from the CDC, the five risk factors include contaminated equipment or cross contamination, poor personal hygiene, improper holding temperatures, improper cooking temperatures, and food from unsafe sources. So active managerial control will definitely help you control these risks that can make someone very sick. Managers and employees must act every day to help preventing making someone sick or putting your business at risk from monetary damages. Active managerial control means Being proactive and not reactive. Proactive is when you consider situations before they arise to make sure that your team is prepared for them. Reactive is when management and employees respond to crises and issues as they arise. For example, being proactive is implementing preventative maintenance on food equipment such as refrigerators. Remember that food equipment is the backbone of any food establishment. For this reason, it is important to provide regular care of food equipment as it prolongs the lifespan of equipment. Therefore, you save thousands of dollars in repairs and reduce food waste. The consequences of being reactive include food waste, monetary loss, risk of making someone sick, high stress levels, consistent risk factor violations, among others. While the benefits of being proactive include increased sales, lower risk of making someone sick, customers' confidence, fewer risk factor violations, increased consumer satisfaction, happy employees, good reputation, higher food quality, and low staff turnover. We know and understand that things are not perfect and that difficult situations may arise at any time. But having an action plan will help you be prepared. So take some time and ask yourself, do I want to be on the relaxed and happy proactive side, or do I want to be on the stressful reactive side? So, what to include in the active managerial control program? Step number one, start by developing written food safety policies to set expectations for employees. Step number two, training food employees on policies. It is important that employees learn and put into practice the policies created. Step number three, monitoring. So, monitoring provides a mechanism to ensure that the employees will follow all of the written policies. Step number four, corrective action. This includes what to do if the monitoring shows that a policy is not met. The corrective action should be included in the written food safety policy. By implementing these important steps, you take control of your food establishment. Be your own inspector daily. Don't wait for the health inspector to come and tell you that your refrigerator is not working. After developing your active managerial control program specific to your food establishment, you may now wonder, how can I demonstrate active managerial control? So there are four steps to active managerial control. Step number one, written policies. Policies are written after you identify risk that can potentially lead to a foodborne illness in your food establishment. Once a risk is identified, you must include it in your policy and ask yourself, how would that risk factor be controlled or eliminated? For example, the policy for cold holding might be that all time temperature control for food safety, or known as TCS food, will be kept refrigerated below 41. Step number two, training. It is important that your employees learn and put into place the policies that you have created. You can train staff during employee meetings, video training, one-on-one demonstrations, etc. Providing training can help food employees learn their responsibilities better. The person in charge should not be the only person who is aware and responsible for the policies. For example, as part of a cold holding policy, all food preparation staff should be trained that TCS food should be 41 degrees or less. And remember to take time to educate on the importance of cold holding and include the implications if a cold holding policy is not followed. Step number 3, monitoring. A method for verifying that employees follow specific policies and determine who will monitor and how often. For example, designating a shift lead to check temperatures of TCS foods throughout the day and entering them in temperature logs is one means of monitoring a cold holding policy. Step number 4, corrective actions, is what to do if the monitoring shows that a policy is not met and that there is a food safety concern. For example, does the cold holding policy tell employees what to do if the TCS food is out of temperature? A useful tool that can be used to carry out active managerial control is having standard operational procedures known as SOPs. Standard operational procedures are written instructions and procedures of how your facility will produce and handle food safely. SOPs are a key to the success of your food establishment. By having written procedures in place, you can reduce foodborne illness, ensure the satisfaction of your customers, and increase profits. Some of the benefits of having SOPs include higher profits, help reduce food waste, creates good habits, things run smoothly, brings consistency, and you have happy customers. Your menu and how you prepare your food will identify which kind of SOP you may need. For example, if you're a market that just sells prepackaged food but don't handle any open food, some required SOPs to your operation may include cold holding and first in, first out. But if your food establishment consists of preparing and handling open food like a sandwich shop, in that case, the required SOPs will be hand washing, no bare hand contact, cold holding, and employee health and hygiene. So as you can see, the more complex the process gets, the more SOPs we have in place to ensure that food safety is maintained while operating. Now that we have identified the different types or some of the different types of SOPs, we need to know how to write SOPs. There are 9 components to an SOP. The title, why, who, when, how, corrective action, monitoring, training, and verification. Okay, so let's take a look at each one. First, the SOP should be titled. The title should be very direct. For example, the title could be Cold Holding Policy. Number 2, the why. It is important to describe the reasoning behind this policy. Typically, if employees understand why a procedure is important, they will be more likely to implement that procedure. In the case of cold holding, we want employees to understand that foods that need to be refrigerated must stay below a certain temperature to prevent the growth of bacteria that can make someone sick. Number 3, who. The procedure should clearly state who should be following the procedure. In the kitchen, there may be several employees who have different roles, and it's important to be clear who does what. Number 4, when. A procedure is often written so that it may be implemented in a specific instances. For example, for the cold holding policy, should be scheduled a few times per day to ensure that refrigerators and cold food are temping at 41 degrees or less. Number 5, how. This is the step-by-step description of how someone should be doing the procedure. Every food establishment has its own way that works best for them based on their business. The description should be clearly stated and be understood by all employees. Number 6, corrective action. This is what needs to be done if something goes wrong with the procedure. For example, if during the cold holding temperature checks, an employee realizes that one of the refrigerator temperatures is rising above 41 degrees and the food is also starting to rise above 41, a corrective action will explain that employees will need to move the food from that non-working refrigerator to another working refrigerator to help bring the food back down below to a temperature of 41 degrees or less. This this often would include a record of some kind, such as logs, temperature logs, to show that there was an issue and that the issue was corrected. Number 7, monitoring. Some of these procedures may require some form of documentation. For example, cold holding. One of the procedures may be that the manager checks the ambient temperature of the different refrigerators in the food establishment and writes them down once in the morning, in the afternoon, and the evening. And once again, they can use temperature logs. Number 8, training. This involves describing how much training the staff will need on this procedure or having records of staff who have been trained on the procedure. Number 9, verification. The owner or the store manager will occasionally check the procedure to see if it's the policy it's doing its job. This can be done by observing employees during business hours, reviewing records, or having conversations with employees regarding the SOPs. A manager should sign off on documents for the policy showing that they are being followed correctly. Once you have developed the necessary SOPs for your food establishment, don't just keep them in your computer or a location where your employees do not have access to them. Post your SOPs. Post SOPs on a visible and appropriate area in your food establishment. Train and demonstrate to all employees how each step should be performed. Include SOPs with employee handbook materials. Conduct regular audits of the SOPs to ensure that they are being followed correctly. Consumer Health and Food Safety has implemented a voluntary incentive program intended to improve public health and safety, reduce food insecurity, help consumers make more informed choices, while also lowering your annual permit fees. One way to save 10% on your annual permit fee is by implementing active managerial control in your food establishment. As mentioned previously, a useful tool to monitor active managerial control is using SOPs. In our website, you can find different SOP samples. For example, on this slide, I have included a cold holding sample. I have highlighted parts that consist of an SOP, those parts that I previously mentioned, which are the who, when, where, how, corrective action, monitor steps, training, and verification. If you wish to access samples and fillable SOP forms, please use the QR code from this slide, and it will take you directly to that section of our website. So I'm just gonna wait here for a few seconds before I change my slides. And if by chance, if you don't get an opportunity to take a picture of this QR code, I will be providing you with my email address. You can send me an email and I will be more than happy to send you the information that you need. So as mentioned earlier, an SOP is an active managerial control tool. Additional active material tools consist of, for example, having someone in your food establishment has a valid food protection manager certificate. Also recipe cards that have the specific steps for preparing a food item and the food safety critical limits, such as the final cooking temperatures. Record keeping, such as monitoring records, training records, and verification records, and having an employee health policy for restricting or excluding ill employees. So those are all additional tools. So here's an example of a recipe card that you may use as a tool for active managerial control. This recipe card has the specific steps for preparing the herb roasted chicken. It provides the specific cooking time and the critical limit of 165 degrees Fahrenheit final cooking temperature. Our goal at Consumer Health and Food Safety is to help you produce safe food to prevent foodborne illness and protect public health. For this reason, we created this informational virtual meeting. In addition, we are currently working on a very exciting active managerial control program that we will be piloting in January of 2024. And more information about this program will be provided soon. Now, this audience can start evaluating food culture within your food establishment. All of you here, you can now create written policies and procedures and implement active managerial control as your food safety management system. Remember, an empowered team is definitely a successful one. We also put together a questionnaire which aims to evaluate active managerial control. I encourage everyone right now to also take a picture of this QR code. I also have the link that will give you direct access to the active managerial control evaluation. Or you can simply email me at rocio.alvarez@pima.gov, and I will be sending you all the information that you need via email. I want to thank you for your time. And now if anyone has any questions, or if you don't feel comfortable asking those questions on chat, you can just send me an email too. And let's see, whichever you feel more comfortable. You can either put it in chat, or you can unmute yourself, or send me an email. This slide has our information, Consumer Health and Food Safety. It's located at 3950 South Country Club Road. And our office phone number is 520-724-7908. So I'll be here in case we have any questions. Thank you, Ralph. It looks like we may not have any questions. Um, I highly encourage you to please send me your concerns, or if you have any questions, directly to my email address. Remember, we're here to help you out, and more information about our piloting program on active managerial control will be coming soon. It's a very exciting project. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. I hope everybody has a good night. Thank you
Rocio,
for your
there
time.
was one question in the chat.
Hello?
Hi, Rocio. Ralph
Oh,
had a
yes, I can hear you
question.
now.
Ralph had a question. His question is whether you have any resources for developing SOPs.
Yes, we do have the resources, and I apologize if I did not mention that. The resources are actually we have them in our website. Um, And this is a QR code on this slide that you can use, and it will take you directly to where we have those SOPs formats, lots of examples, different SOPs that we have for you. It looks like somebody is typing something in the chat. Don't be shy. It looks like we probably don't have any questions. I will leave this here just in case anyone needs my information.
We'll go ahead and leave this up for about a minute and then I will end the meeting. So please reach out to Rocio if you have any additional questions and complete this survey. Thank you so much for attending this evening.